All right, we have one more type of graph we're going to talk about, and those are histograms. These are probably one of our most important types of graphs. We're going to draw them a lot this year. So we have some steps we can remember for histograms too. The first thing is that we need to divide the data into bins of a certain width. And we can choose the width usually, whatever we want, and whatever seems appropriate for our data. Then, the second thing we need to do is find the counts or the frequencies, or sometimes the percents, the relative frequencies of individuals in each class. So really we're finding the counts or the number of observations that fall into each bin. And we're going to make a table called a frequency table that displays this. Then we're going to label and scale our axes and use that to, along with our table, to draw our histogram. So let's practice. Below are the amounts of rainfall in millimeters that fell during the 23 strong El Nino years between 1871 and 2004. We're going to make a histogram, and then we're going to use our histogram to describe our data. So even before we do our histogram, the first thing we should do is we should make our frequency table. So remember, our frequency table includes our bins, and it's going to include our counts. Okay, so first thing we need to do is pick a bin size, right? How much do we want to count by in each bin? Well, to do that, it's probably easiest to think about what our smallest and biggest number is. So let's look at our data. It looks like our smallest number is this 604, and our biggest number is this 957. So in our bins, we're going to want to make sure we include those two numbers and everything in between. So 604 is really close to 600. Let's pick a nice easy start place. And we're going to say that we're going to start at 600. And let's count by hundreds to make it easy. So we're going to go 600 to 700. And we're going to use some special notation. We're going to, at our 600, we're going to put this square bracket. Alright, what this square bracket means is that we're going to include the number 600 if it shows up in our data set. It goes in this bin, right? Then at 700, we're going to put our parentheses. Our parentheses, or our curved bracket in some cases, means not included but everything up to. So in this bin, we're not going to include 700, but we're going to include everything up to that. So 699, or even 699.9, or 699.99, right? We can get as close as we want to 700 as long as we don't hit it. Right? Then we can do the same thing. In our next bin, we'll do 700. Notice the square bracket means I will include 700 this time. And then up to 800, but not including. Then I'll do it until I can get to all of my data points. So in this case, I'll go from all the way up to the 1000 mark. Okay, so there's my bins. Now I want to find my count. So I want to find how many numbers are between 600 and 700. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 numbers. So in my counts I'll put 6. Okay. Then I want to look at my 700s. How many numbers are in the 700s? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Okay, now we'll do our 800s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then lastly, there's just one number left in our 900s. Now that we have our frequency table, we can make our histogram. Oops. Our histogram will need an X and a Y. Right? On the bottom, we're going to start at 600 because that's where our bin started. And we are going to count by 100s until we get to 1,000. So 700, 800, 900, 1,000. Alright, then on our y-axis, we're going to put our counts. And we should make sure we label these, so we'll put counts on our side. And then underneath our histogram, on the bottom, these were, remember, rainfall. So we're going to say this is our rainfall. And we should say our units as well. So we were measuring in millimeters. Alright, so now that we have our counts and our rainfalls, we should make sure we have our counts numbered. So we're going to go just by ones for our counts. And we want to make sure we get up to 9. And then we're just going to draw some bars to represent our counts. So from 600 to 700, we're going to draw a line at our 600 mark up to 6, and a line at our 700 mark up to 6 as well. And we're going to connect them. So there's our first bar. Right, then at 700, we're going to draw another line, this time going all the way up to 9, and 800 will do the same. Notice this time they do connect. Unlike our bar graphs we made before, where we had spaces between them, that won't happen this time. And the reason for that is because they both match with that 700, right? They share that edge, which didn't happen before because none of our radio stations, for example, shared an overlap, right? We can't have both of them happening at one time. So we're going to keep going. 7, and then finally with 1. And the last thing we just need to do is make sure we give it our title. So we can say we're going to title this El Niño Rainfall. And there we go. There's our histogram.